Hello everyone, welcome to the #1 Divine Intervention virtual event, the D.I.V.E Social Summit for short. If you are new to D.I.V.E Live Online, my name is Iona Meade. I am your big vision and mission purposepreneur and founder of the Soul Speakers Academy. I'm your host for this interview series, where I have brought together 49 guest experts from all over the world who I like to call soul speakers. And we are sharing with you soul-inspired, intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for purpose-driven business owners. So throughout the 49 days of the Social Summit, I'm going to be bringing each of my guests into the Soul Speaker Spotlight for you. And not only will they share their free gift with you, but they'll also share their soul-inspired strategy for the day. So hopefully this is coming to you in divine timing, with divine energy, and in divine flow. So we know that the universe brings us what we need, but sometimes it's not always much fun to do it alone. And that's why you'll have the opportunity to connect with me, my guests, and other like-minded attendees for the D.I.V.E Social Summit in the Soul Speakers Tribe Facebook group. So I will make sure that I put the link below this interview for you for today's freebie, so feel free to grab that. And if you haven't grabbed my bonus training for the summit, it's called Speak Your Soul's Message 101. I do invite you to take advantage of that. So we have about 20 minutes together today, and I'm going to introduce my very special guest. Super excited about this interview. So please do give a really, really warm welcome to Casey Campbell. Hi, Casey.
Hi, Iona. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for joining us. So let me give you a warm introduction. So Casey Campbell is a self-love specialist, heart presence activator, ThetaHealer, creator of the inspirational book, I See Hearts Everywhere, and also the host of Today is Magical show on newsforthesoul.com. Casey is an inspiration. So guys, if you have any questions for Casey as this interview flows, do comment below, do come in and continue on the conversation in the Social Summit, because we want to be social. We want to be providing you with that value. So Casey, before we dive into your free gift that you've brought to the summit, and I thank you for that, and your soul-inspired strategy, can you share with our audience a little bit about how your path unfolded and how you've come to do what you're doing today and seeing hearts everywhere?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. Well, what happened for me is I was always interested in all things metaphysical. I was curious about alternative healing. And what kept drawing me back to that is I felt like I had so much potential, as I think a lot of us feel. We know that more is possible, but we can't figure out sometimes why we're spinning our wheels, why we just can't seem to make it work. And that's what was happening for me. So I was trying out, different modalities, and each one was helpful, but I'll tell you, it was when I finally learned Transcendental Meditation. And about a month after that, that was a real turning point for me, because I had never really, I would go to people for different healings, but I never had a technique that I could use for myself. Yeah. And once I had that, I didn't realize it was opening me up to so much so quickly, but about a month after that, I was taking some photographs with my camera. And at that phase of my life, it was just a little point and shoot, but I didn't look through the camera. I would just take pictures and see what came through. So that night I was looking on my screen when I uploaded the photographs, and I saw this heart of light, and there was no logical explanation for it, because I was just taking a picture of my scarf, holding it up to the window and taking a picture of this mohair scarf. So it didn't make any sense when I saw this pure heart. So I just thought, okay, that's amazing, magical, cool, but I just thought it was a one-off. I didn't think I would see any more. And then I started seeing them in my food, in the clouds, in puddles on the ground, like they just turned up everywhere. So I took pictures of them as I went, and sometimes I wouldn't have my camera, I would just, enjoy them. But I found that as I mentioned this to other people, or they would see me taking pictures of them, either they already were seeing hearts too, or they started to see hearts. So this is why I say Heart Presence Activator, because the work that I do with Theta connects you with your heart, but also as, like, I have a Facebook page called I See Hearts Everywhere, and people all around the world are coming to that page and sharing the hearts that they see, or just coming to enjoy the hearts. So I feel like, first of all, people are coming back to this connection with their heart, and the activation is also just seeing the presence of hearts and of universal love everywhere in our life. So that was a real turning point for me. And then, as I say, once it was probably a couple of years after I started seeing the hearts and after I learned how to meditate, that I heard a show that featured theta healing on that newsforthesoul.com, that station you mentioned earlier, that site.
Yeah.
And what's incredible is I was inspired to take a class through listening to that radio program. And now here it is a few years later, and I have my own show on there. I was invited completely out of the blue. Just this random email arrived one day about 6 months ago, and now here I have my own show. So it has been a really magical journey. And obviously lots of ups and downs along the way, but I do find that once we have the tools, these energetic tools to help us, to open us up to divine love, it changes everything.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that. It's a really nice, a magical story, because I know that it's that space that you talk about, seeing their hearts. And we have another guest on the summit who sees like the angels, just has that ray of light wherever she goes. She takes some really amazing, beautiful pictures. I love that you see hearts everywhere. And I love that you say that, people come from all over the world, because we say, the true essence of everything, at the core of everything, is love, right? And so you help people to really tap into that seeing them, or whatever. Would it always be hearts for everyone? Do you think if somebody's in that self-love space, would they be seeing other things, or just feeling that radiating from them? How does that work?
It is amazing how it works, because sometimes it'll be hearts, but sometimes even on the hearts page, people will share feathers, even pennies from heaven. Sometimes people call them that, pennies from heaven, when we see random coins around. All of these are messages from the divine. I feel like we're in a conversation with the universe, and most of us don't realize that, especially if we've been through difficult times, if we've been through trauma, maybe some sort of abuse, some sort of feeling that we may have been abandoned by the universe somehow. A lot of us have felt that. So once we realize, say, for example, when these hearts start showing up, something that doesn't have a logical explanation, and then you start to realize, okay, I'm actually having a conversation with the universe, and I can be in this conversation. It's not a one-way conversation. By showing gratitude, by acknowledging what's showing up, and really appreciating it, and then mentioning it to others, so they start to open up too, like, what's going on here? And then we can see, okay, there is a conversation happening. So it can be feathers, it can be coins, it can be rainbows. I have a friend who sees rainbows everywhere too. So but I really believe it's all about that conversation with the universe. And again, so many of us didn't feel like that was happening. We might have felt separate, not connected with source, or however you want to word that. So it's amazing how these things find us. I wasn't looking for that. It just showed up.
It does. And guys, do let us know if anything's been showing up for you, because as purpose-driven business owners, you're probably tapped in and tuned into that, right? But sometimes when we have that energy block, or we're not in that space, as you say, if that's self-love, and we're not open to certain things, or we kind of dismiss it.
Yes.
It's really great to actually see what is showing up and actually let us know, continue on that conversation. And as the days flow throughout the summit, continue to let us know what is actually showing up for you. I love that. And I love that you say, we are all connected. And that's why I've called the D.I.V.E Social Summit the divine intervention. And it really is that. It is that I feel guided. I feel present. I feel that we are attracting, and whatever it is that's going on in our mind and our heart, it reflects out there, and it is that kind of conversation and that confirmation. I think for me is the way that I see it, is that confirmation that I am divinely guided and I am on that path. And you know, just to know that there's that reassurance along the way, because sometimes it's like, oh, you know, the universe, I feel supported, and then it's like I'm in that space of lack and I don't really feel supported. So there's that balance of, or that energy sometimes is up and sometimes it's down. You know, have you ever found that? Like sometimes if you're really in flow, you'll see even more hearts everywhere.
Yes, and it can go that way where you're in flow and you see more, and sometimes they'll show up when you really feel like you need them when you're not in flow. So it can go both ways. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love something. For me, theta healing is the best modality I've found for getting back in the flow. So there's that balance that I have there too with that, because sometimes we have to take some action. And even like I said, I wasn't looking for the hearts, but actually I was looking for a connection with the, you know, with source, with a higher power. So I guess in a way I was looking for something outside of myself, something bigger than myself, for like, divine intervention.
Yeah, exactly, like that confirmation.
Yeah.
So for our audience, I know that you're bringing this gift to the Social Summit, and guys, if you want that, I give you full permission to multitask and go over and get it, because Casey's bringing the free gift from Today's Magical, but you say that it's a free sacred activations for self-love and self-realization. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the video I have created is absolutely full of theta healing. We call them downloads. Yeah. So what's happening in the video, it shows you, if you haven't experienced theta healing before, it shows you how it works and you get to experience it. So what we do is we release anything that no longer serves. Usually it's connected with our limited subconscious beliefs, and we replace it with empowering ones. So all of this is done with your free will, with your yes. So nothing's being changed for you. It's only if that resonates and that sounds good, then you can say yes. So it's like an interactive video. So this particular video is filled with these theta healing downloads that are going to release everything that's been holding you back, the things that have kept you maybe stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage. Yeah. And so this happens for so many of us. We get used to that, and we forget how to love ourselves, because I believe we all start out knowing that we have this divine essence, and we know who we are at the highest level, but life begins and we take things on through the experiences we go through. We might even take on other people's beliefs. Yeah. So we forget. And this is just a reminder of what it is to love yourself and to become fully self-realized, and a reminder of what that feels like. Because for so many of us, if we've gone through years of, you know, fear, betrayal, abuse, it could be anything, or maybe not even something so dramatic, but just maybe putting others first the whole time. So we forget how to nurture ourselves. Yeah. So with this video, you're going to receive these downloads to switch that from self-sabotage to self-love, and that takes us into self-realization. Oh. So it's filled with all these downloads. I think you're going to love it.
I know that you're going to love it, guys. So do go and get that. But so you talk about it in the video, and it's for that self-sabotage. And sometimes we're not even aware of this, like unconscious self-sabotage, right? It's not like, oh, I want to sabotage myself, but you just notice those patterns, or that stuff, that funk, I like to say, that comes up, and it does hold you back. And we hear that hold you back. What does that mean? But those things that you've adopted, like you said, you know, from the past or experiences, whatever it is, whether it's big or whether it's small. So you talk about releasing that, as in releasing your baggage, and you talk about healing from that inner child. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like that, why would we want to even heal our inner child? What does that mean?
Right. So I believe that our inner child, that who we were when we were little stays with us. We don't lose that part of us. And not just when you picture, okay, maybe me at 5. It's actually us all the way along. Those experiences are there. And those experiences are there to be treasured and to be cherished. A lot of us just want to forget about that time. Maybe we had a hard time at school, or, you know, with our sisters and brothers, who knows? But when we incorporate in our inner child, and you can think of your inner child maybe even just as your heart, or even as your higher self.
Yeah.
All of these things are so similar. And once we integrate our inner child and bring him or her in, so that we can show our inner child maybe all the things that we would have liked when we were a child, we can do that now for our inner child. We can offer that to ourselves. And that's really empowering. Then we're not in victim mode anymore. Then we're not in self-sabotage, because we realize, A, I can do this for myself, and B, I can receive this from the universe, from source. So that, I think, is really important, because when our inner child feels neglected, there's something missing. We don't realize what it is. We're spinning our wheels and we're just not sure. But it's that integration, that connection. And you'll find this through the video. This is some work that we do in sacred activations.
Oh, thank you so much. So guys, if you are that someone who's wondering, actually, what is going on for me, I'm not quite sure, then, you know, try it out. And we hear about self-love, and we kind of get stuck and kind of put labels on it. And do I have that self-love? Am I moving in my world, in my day, from that space? You know, if you've ever heard of theta healing, then that's great. If you've never heard of it, then this just might be the thing that actually bridges that gap for you, helps you move and have that transition into that healing space. And so you can actually be free to actually get on and do what it is that you want to do in the world, have those relationships, have that relationship, most importantly, with yourself. So you're able to be open and feel free in the world, right, Casey?
Absolutely. And really, once we have that for ourselves and we're centered in our hearts, that does radiate out to everyone around, and people want to be around people like that. And you are a prime example of exactly what we're talking about, Iona. You really are.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh, you're gonna make me blush. So Casey, for our audience, we're going to move into that soul-inspired strategy of the day. And thank you so much for bringing your free gift to the Social Summit. Let's talk about, and if you're new to D.I.V.E Live Online, the soul-inspired strategy for the day is to help you, although my guests are sharing, our soul speakers are sharing their free gifts, their tools, their tips, their strategies, their videos, as Casey says, this strategy for each day is about helping you to move and feel your way in your life day to day, in your life, your business, and your marketing, and come from that space of self-love and acceptance and knowing that you feel supported. So do share your soul-inspired strategy for today, Casey.
Thanks, Iona. I feel that my soul-inspired strategy for business is that really self-love is the gateway for all that we desire. And that's for our life or for our business, for all that we desire. So once we have that, and again, it's easy to forget what that is. It's easy to feel like self-love is a last resort, or worse than that. Maybe it feels inconceivable. It doesn't even feel possible. Like, how do I love myself? It sounds simple, but it's not necessarily easy when we've forgotten how. So what I believe is, by, again, theta healing works for me, whatever way you can find to come back home to yourself, to realize what it feels like to love yourself. Once you've got that, then you start making decisions that nurture you and nourish you and yourself and others. But having you at the center, then you can help others. So that's what I would say is really the gateway, is that self-love, and then you open up to receiving more. whether that's clients, whether that's opportunities. And like you say, when we get into the self-sabotage, it can become a habit. And then we stop moving into something new. So I believe that self-love is really the key.
Oh, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And I totally agree. And, you know, sometimes you think, oh, it sounds so simple. Is it going to be easy? But moving through that and doing whatever it is, as Casey says, that you need to do for you, and hopefully his free gift will help you and support you in that. Coming out the other side just is magical. It really is. And, you know, if this is you and you're thinking, how am I going to, you don't understand, this is where I am right now. And it's okay to be wherever you are. That's where you need to be. But if that is you right now, and you can honestly put your hand in your heart and say, I don't feel like I love myself, then that's the first step. And we invite you to take the next step and the next step, and however long that takes for you to heal that. And it might be that stuff that's coming up from the past others' experience, whether you know it consciously or not, but you know whether stuff's coming up for you and holding you back. You definitely know that. You know, that's one of those things of really getting honest and really getting in touch with yourself, but coming out the other side. And as Casey said, for so many different areas of your life, it really just radiates. It attracts people. You know, I've been able to attract 49 soul speakers for the summit, and you know, it's been amazing. And I feel that heart to heart, right? I call them my joint vision partners in the world, about, you know, having that transformation just radiate out and radiate out. And you know, when you get to the other side, we want to know about it. We want to continue on this conversation. So Casey, I'm going to wrap up today because I could be with you all day. I love Casey's energy. It's really magnifying, right? It's beautiful. So hopefully you've heard that today. So if you are here on Casey's free day, do come over into the Facebook group, ask her any questions, let us know, you know, do you feel that about yourself? We want to know, and we want to be supporting you. If you're here after Casey's free day, still come over, take inspired action, go and get the gift, try it out, see how it fits. It's not just a one-time fix. You know, use that as many times as you need it.
Yes.
And continue on that conversation. So if you know anyone, please do share. If you know of anyone that you've been talking to in the last few weeks, and you know they're having a hard time moving through this and loving themselves because they've had whatever experience, do share and invite them on, because we want to be providing you with that value. So hopefully you've had some insights and some shifts and some breakthroughs in this interview and in the summit. And I believe, and each of my guests believe, in transformation. So we're not going to ask you to pay for the replays of the summit and the interviews or lock off the freebies, because we don't want you to stay stuck behind closed doors. But we know that that transformation that you want to provide in the world, that you want to radiate out, transformation begins one person at a time, and that person is you. Loving yourself and that self-love is that gateway, as Casey said, you know, so beautifully. It really is. Without it, you just feel lost and lonely and stuck. So I invite you to move through, and if you haven't got the bonus training for the Social Summit, it's called Speak Your Soul's Message 101, and you're going to love it, because it allows you, when you come from that space, to really radiate out and do what we're doing, getting featured on Hangouts, virtual events, summits, and really connecting on a soul-to-soul level. When you love yourself and you have that self-love and you moved away from self-sabotage, you actually do connect on a soul-to-soul level with your ideal clients, with your loved ones, in your relationships. Just the magic happens. So if you love what Casey's sharing, she's also contributing to what I call an Uber giveaway as I open up the Soul Speakers Academy. Super excited about that. And if you haven't been to www.D.I.V.E Live online, go over and have a look. Have a look at all the area of expertise that my guests are sharing. If you need a lot or a little help in whatever area, then we are here to support you and continue on that journey of self-love. It doesn't happen in a day, but it can actually happen. So Casey, if you've got anything to add before we wrap up, we'd love to give you the final words.
Sure. I just want to say a huge thank you to you, Iona. You are just such a gift and blessing to the world, and such an amazing connector of hearts and souls and minds. And thank you to everyone tuning in. This is just such an exciting platform that we have created by Iona, where we can all connect, support each other, and learn, grow, evolve. Yeah, and make today magical.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's make today magical, and the next day and the next day. And I really feel divinely guided, as you say, Casey. You know, I'm just putting the framework around the summit. I wish I could take all of the credit, but I do. I have those divine downloads, but the difference is I believe in it and I take inspired action. So that's what we're inviting you to do. So that's it for today's interview. I will bring another soul speaker into the Soul Speaker Spotlight for you, where we share more soul-inspired strategies, intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for every area of your life, because it really is interwoven. So that's me, Iona Meade, signing off. I shall see you over at www.D.I.V.E Live online. Take care, guys.